Morning all. I'm a big kid really, and I love toys, and this is my favourite one of all time. Tomy's Big Loader. Now you have to be at least 3 years old to play with Big Loader. I'm 55, so I think we're okay. This came from Woolworths, I think back in the mid-1990s. £10.99 it was. Now, I didn't realise quite how old Big Loader is, but it seems from these eBay listings that it probably dates from around 1977. So this is an old toy. But I think it's the best toy ever invented. It's pure genius. And I'm going to attempt to show you why I think that. Now, it's all based around this small truck chassis, which is electrically very simple. Oh, what is that mess? The battery's leaked, but it still works really quite well. I'm going to have to change that battery. So a little bit of clean up with an old toothbrush. Get all the muck out of it. That should be fine. Let's stick a new battery in there. And away she goes. So as I was saying, this is a very simple electrical circuit. It's just a single AA cell, an on-off switch, and a 1.5 volt motor. There is some complexity in terms of this reversing switch, but it's not electrical, it's mechanical. So this is how the reversing switch works. You've got this little lever here which stops this drum, oops, I powered it up, in two positions, one of two positions. And that either puts this tiny gear wheel onto this gear for one direction, or winds it right round onto another gear somewhere. Yes, it's down the bottom, and that's what gives it the ability to reverse when that lever is flipped. It's ingenious. So here's the reversing lever in action. You can see how when you flip the lever, the output shaft changes direction. Wonderfully brilliant. Now, I first saw this toy in Hamleys in central London in Regent Street, and I was mesmerised by the seeming complexity of what this car does. Let's put it on the track. It seems to do an enormous number of complex actions. But I think I've boiled it down to essentially 6 states. So it's centred around this triangle here. There are 3 arms, 1, 2, 3, and the car travels down these arms first in the forward direction, and then when it reverses and comes back, it travels down the second arm in reverse, the third arm forward, and then the first arm the opposite way around to how it was at first. Then it does the second arm forward, and then finally the third arm in reverse. So there are 6 states. It's a state machine. So let's start it here. You can see that it does the full arm, this arm in full, and this arm in full. But then, the other way round, it short-changes us. One little short movement, another short movement, and a third short movement. So in fact, 3 of the 6 states aren't really used. And there's a really clever system for slowing the car down when it gets near the end of the track. Like there, like this end piece here. There's a piece of rack here, a toothed rack, and when the vehicle approaches it, it actually lifts the wheel off the track and drives itself along the rack using this little gear wheel here. So the tyre is no longer in contact with the road surface, but the gear is sitting on this rack. And the gear ratio, of course, is totally different when it's sitting on this rack. And so it runs very slowly wherever there's a rack on the track. So there's one here, for example, to slow the truck down when the excavator has to lift up the balls, which I'll introduce in a moment, through this little chute. The truck slows down, the excavator lifts, and the truck speeds up again. And then there's this ingenious body swap system where the car runs through this blue section here and changes from a tipper truck to whatever that thing's called. Absolutely brilliant. It's 3 vehicles in one. So let's watch it in action. Start there. First thing that the truck does is collect 4 balls. They're dispensed by an ingenious dispenser. They run down into the road. I should shut up really, it's more fun just watching it. It struggles a bit on that hill, and there is a good reason for that. And round we go again. Now you can see that it struggles to climb this hill, and that's because the tyres are not the originals. Big Loader has a serious weakness, especially when the set is about 20 years old like this one is. These rubber tyres eventually perish and just break up. So these tyres I made myself. I managed to find a washer in my pound shop set of O-rings and washers that was exactly the right internal and external diameter, but it was too thick. So I had to cut the washer in half lengthways, and you might just be able to see where I didn't make a particularly good job of it and missed with the knife a few times and kind of cut it into little shreds. Then I had to cut my own tread, so I had to cut dozens of tiny little tread cuts, but they're not particularly sharp. You can see that they're actually quite flat topped, and so they don't fit brilliantly well into the little stand-up groove pieces on the track. They kind of half work, so it's a reasonable effort, but it's not quite as good as the original tyres. I'm not sure if you can buy new tyres for this thing. So one washer became 2 new tyres, and there only was the one washer in here that was the right size to fit on these wheels. Bit of luck, really. So what does Big Loader do? Well, it moves these balls, rocks they call them, in an endless and seemingly rather pointless circuit from the hopper to the road, to the tipper truck, and back into the hopper. It reminds me of a statistic I once read, that the United Kingdom exports a certain tonnage of potatoes to Holland each year, and Holland exports the exact same tonnage of potatoes back to the United Kingdom. It's rather representative of our society, I think. So, Big Loader lives on. Well, I'm going to play out with Big Loader doing its thing. Cheerio. What's happened to the ball dispensing? Manual reversal.